Part 1. The Fatal Empty Ship, Cold Open, and Hooks. On the 10th of July, 1969, amidst the stifling breeze of the Atlantic, the British Royal Navy discovered a sailboat drifting in an eerie manner, the Teignmouth Electron referred to as the Bewildered. Upon boarding, the rescue team was shocked by the scene before them. The hull was completely intact. The kerosene lamp in the cabin was still burning. The ship's logbook lay open on the table, and the cap of the fountain pen hadn't even been put back on yet. The entire ship was empty. The owner of this ship, Donald Crowhurst, had been a lone hero in the eyes of all of Britain just months prior, with people eagerly awaiting him to complete the monumental feat of a solo circumnavigation of the globe. But he did not die from the fierce winds and monstrous waves. He died from a genius lie he had woven himself. This is a terrifying story of vanity, claustrophobia, and a sanity swallowed whole by the deep sea. Part 2. The gambler's departure contrast and the flawed setups rewind to a year earlier. In 1968, Britain hosted an utterly insane event, the Golden Globe Solo Round, the World Sailing Race. One person, one boat, no stopping, no resupplies. Donald was an electronics engineer on the brink of bankruptcy. To save his family, he secured a massive sponsorship but signed a fatal gambling agreement. If he dropped out halfway, he would have to buy the ship at his own expense. This debt would instantly ruin his family. Carrying the pressure of a desperate gamble, he piloted an untested trimaran that didn't even have its water pumps installed. Amidst the cheers of tens of thousands, he braced himself and sailed out into the storm-ravaged ocean. Part 3. The Genius Forgery, Dramatic Irony. Just 2 weeks after departure, reality shattered his arrogance. The hull began to leak severely. If he continued advancing into the dangerous Southern Ocean, the ship would inevitably disintegrate and he would surely die. But if he turned back now, the gambling agreement would immediately bankrupt him and reduce him to a national laughingstock. In this desperate corner, Donald made a decision that doomed him eternally. He would stay in the safety of the Atlantic, sailing in circles while forging a flawless set of the world navigational coordinates. As a mathematical genius, he prepared 2 logbooks. One recorded the mundane reality of drifting in circles, and the other documented his fictional, proud voyage. He continuously radioed back fake coordinates. On the maps at the British headquarters, he was crossing the Cape of Good Hope at an astonishing speed. All of Britain was boiling with excitement. But the tragedy's irony lies in the audience's omniscient perspective. In reality, he was locked alone in a cold, dark, cramped cabin, using complex trigonometric functions to cover up a lie from which there was no turning back. His lie was too perfect. As other competitors dropped out, Donald was horrified to discover that he had become the favorite to win the championship. This meant that once he returned in triumph, his fake logbook would face the strictest joint scrutiny by the Navy and meteorological experts. By then, the charge of fraud would utterly destroy his reputation. He used deception to dodge the storm, only to block his own path home with his own hands. Part 4. The Silent Disintegration, Psychological Progression. In May 1969, the claustrophobia of the deep sea and absolute isolation began to devour his sanity. The radio was filled with praises from his hometown, while in reality his only companion was the dead silence broken only by the sound of waves slapping against rotting wood. Starting in late May, his real logbook no longer contained coordinates. They were replaced by dense, overlapping philosophical delusions. In the final weeks of his life, he wrote down a staggering 25,000 words of illogically structured, spine-chilling confessions at times. He believed himself to be a god in control of the universe. At other times, he plunged into extreme self-reproach. He wrote, "I can no longer endure the humiliation of this body. Deception is a sin, and the ocean is settling the score for my transgressions." Part 5. The Final Countdown. The Ending. The 1st of July, 1969. Having not eaten for several consecutive days, Donald neatly stacked his forged logbook and family photos on the table, and carefully wiped down every corner of the cabin. He left one final sentence in his journal. "The game is over. It is now 11:15. It is already over. This is too cruel." Subsequently, holding the heaviest chronometer on the ship, he calmly stepped over the railing and walked into the cold, deep blue Atlantic. 9 days later, the empty ship was found. Up until his death, Donald never knew that just a few days before he jumped into the sea, his sole competitor had significantly slowed down due to an accident. Had he confessed then, he could have returned home safely, not even needing to bear the intense scrutiny that came with securing first place. He conquered the ocean but ultimately drowned in his own vanity.